Well, hi everyone. I'm Jarrett with a retro review of WWE In Your House #1. The idea is it's a pay-per-view that you watch in your house, as opposed to ones you might watch among the mole people, or in the Earth's core, or up in space. It's a pay-per-view in space. Vince will try to do that before he dies. He will try to put on a wrestling event in space. I can actually see him trying to do it. But anyway, hey, he could have an audience of aliens or meteorites or whatever. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, Bubsy. Everything. God, this review's off to a great goddamn start. Actually, the idea of these in-your-house pay-per-views was because WCW was increasing the amount of pay-per-views they were doing every year, especially once Eric Bischoff took over. Vince McMahon was going to offer shorter pay-per-views with a cheaper price, and it was B-level pay-per-views. Sometimes you would get some continuation of feuds that you would see from Raw, and maybe you could watch these pay-per-views for a low price in your house instead of in space, because, God, you just couldn't do that back then, and still can't now. Enough about pay-per-views in space. The idea was, you would have to tune in and just see. It was a way to grab on to fans and get fans to tune in, which was a good thing because in 1995, things were really goddamn rough for WWE. They were rough for WCW as well, but WWE was having a lot of problems. Oh, and also, they were going to give away a house to somebody, and they did that, and the person sold off the house later. It was either due to property taxes, maybe it was a drug house, maybe they just didn't want to move in there, or maybe they wanted to collect the money. I have no goddamn idea. Maybe Cthulhu wanted to take it from them. I really don't know. But anyway, we have Todd Pettingill's enthusiastic narration, and we have Vince McMahon and Doc Hendricks. Doc, not with 3Ks, because Michael Hayes really wanted 3Ks at the end of Doc. He really did, to match his views. Just ask Mark Henry how that worked out. But yeah, they do commentary, so it was Vince McMahon doing commentary, because Michael Hayes is a hell of a talker, but he wasn't all that good here. So, it's built around Bret Hart having a couple matches, one against Hakushi and another against Jerry Lawler a little later, Diesel versus Sid for the championship, and the rest of the card was kind of filler. And they have dark matches later. By the way, here are the dark matches that they did not have on pay-per-view, but they have for the live crowd. Taker versus Kama Mustafa, future Godfather. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Tatanka. Bulldog versus Owen in the King of the Ring qualifying match that went to a 15-minute draw. Those are matches that were not on the pay-per-view. Oh, and Jean-Pierre Lafitte had, took on Bob Holly. That's pretty much what they were doing at that point. That was the dark match before the pay-per-view. So we have Bret Hart versus Hakushi, and you know what? It wasn't bad. It was not a bad match. Interesting mix. I wish Hakuchi. You know, that's how I always said. Hakushi, I wish that he was actually used a lot better. I really do wish he was used a lot better in WWE. I mean, he was only around, what, a year? Maybe. And then, Bret did take that turnbuckle bump at one point. But it's just weird that Hakushi was only featured, like, for about a year. Did he want to go back to Japan? Did Vince just not see any value in him? Because he was a pretty damn good performer. And probably was for a number of years. I don't think he wrestles anymore. If he does, I doubt he's doing stuff like the moonsault outside. Because, holy crap, that was something. And Lawler was watching backstage. He was probably watching the live feed of the camera that he put up in the local high school girls' locker room. Because Jerry Lawler's a goddamn creep. Hakushi had a manager, and he kept doing a distraction. It was a cool moonsault outside, and then Bret Hart got a victory roll, 1, 2, 3. And then we go backstage. People are on the phone. WWE employees are on the phone, including Stan Lane and Medusa, who had the same hairstyle at this point, and it was frightening. And Stan Lane was actually the less, flashy dressed of the two. And I like Medusa, and I think Stan Lane's a hell of a tag team performer. It's just weird how they had the same hairstyle. And then Lawler wants to face Bret because right before Bret, right before they cut away from Bret, he got out of the ring and he was limping. Oh no, he hurt his knee getting out of the ring, showboating and everything. So Lawler wants to face him. Lawler thinks he's injured. And then we get Stephanie Wyan, who was very enthusiastic and had the personality of a wet blanket, shouting about the house. And then we have Razor Ramon versus Rody and Jeff Jarrett, continuation of the feud that started all the way back at the Royal Rumble, well, before the Royal Rumble, where Jeff Jarrett would win the Intercontinental Championship and do all this stuff. And the reason 1-2-3 Kid was not there is because he was taken out by Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid went absolutely insane. Boy, if only there was another word for that. Crazy. No. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to snap when it comes to Sid. Wait, that's WCW's sin. Anyway, this match was fine. It was about the 2-on-1 advantage. The Rody, it was his first, televised WWE match. Unfortunately, it wasn't his last. Rody, aka Road Dogg, aka, one of the Armstrongs, was definitely probably the best promo, maybe besides his dad. He was also the worst in the ring, easily. I mean, he was never all that good. Now, he probably made the most money out of anybody, but I don't know. Later, after the numbers advantage, Razor's Edge to Jarrett 1, 2, 3. And then we get the Rody and Jarrett attacking Razor afterwards. And then Aldo Montoya, who had the jock on the wrong part of his body, as Mr. Perfect would say. It was just incredible with a weird jock. And the Portuguese Man of War made no sense. Made no goddamn sense at all. And then it doesn't work. He can't help Razor. And then suddenly somebody shows up. It is the former Quang, Savio Vega. I believe Savio Vega was a former Quang. I always thought it was D'Lo for some reason. I realized that didn't work. But yeah, he shows up, and then commentary plays dumb, says, we don't know who this guy is. And then we get a King of the Ring ad with a night theme. And then we get Sid's Psycho Package. They actually showed footage of him. They did not show just a montage of shots of Sid's package. If you're into that, cool. Just please, don't tell me in the comments. Mabel with Mo versus Adam Bomb. It's a King of the Ring qualifying match, and oh, look at that. Adam Bomb hit a few moves, and it's over in less than 2 minutes. Mabel wins after catching Adam Bomb and hitting him with a splash, or hitting him with a slam. That was it. That was really it. And then Razor backstage introduces Savio Vega. I faced this man before. Gee, I wonder where he faced him. I think he might have faced him in Puerto Rico. But anyway, Smoking Guns versus Yokozuna and Owen Hart with Cornette and Mr. Fuji. It's a tag team championship match, or a rematch at WrestleMania 11, of WrestleMania 11, that is. Well, not like that match. This match was over in about half the time. I think it was over in like 5.5, maybe 6 minutes. And Bart spilled to the outside, got taken down, and then got thrown back in. Owen pinned him 1, 2, 3. And then Diesel wishes all the mothers a happy Mother's Day and therefore tears his quad. Then Jerry Lawler introduces his mom, some young starlet that was a little old for Jerry because she was out of high school, so I don't quite get it. Then we get Lawler all happy because he gets to face an injured Bret Hart, and then Bret comes out. No, Bret's just fine. He's just fine. He's pretending to have the injured leg, but he's not because he's playing around and everything. And then he just beats the shit out of Jerry Lawler because they've been having this feud going for a while. The only good thing about this feud was watching Lawler get the shit beat out of him because Jerry Lawler was never much of anything. I don't care how big he was in Memphis. I don't care. He wasn't really anything special. He wasn't, at least not to me. There are people that may like him, and that's fine. Bret, basically beats the shit out of him. Hakushi runs in. His manager does some distractions, and Hakushi hits a few moves off the top, and then Lawler does a jackknife cover and pins Bret 1, 2, 3. Bret then lays out everybody while Lawler gets away. And there we go. We then get a Sid promo. By the way, this would continue until the Kiss My Foot match a little bit later. I think it's SummerSlam 95. No, wait. Was it SummerSlam 95? Or was it the In Your House? Because I think he faced Isaac Yankem at the SummerSlam 95, the future Kane. Sid's promo. The camera was about 500% too close to Sid. And got closer. That was insane. It was almost psycho. There's a market for that. I think he should have tapped into that during his career. Todd and Stephanie promote the way into the house. It was bad. It was terrible. The winners, again, we saw the house later. Sid versus Diesel for the WWE Championship. All that beef, and this was not good. This was a lot of rest holds. Diesel had a previously injured back, and Sid focused on it with a camel clutch. That's just what you want to see. There's a lot of rest holds among big guys. And then the meme faces from Sid. Seriously, watch this match. You could get so many memes out of this. And then a powerbomb by Diesel later. Sid had hit a powerbomb, but took too long to cover Diesel. Diesel hits a jackknife, but Tatanka runs in the ring. And just, he attacks him. That causes a DQ. The Bam Bam runs down. So that's how the pay-per-view ends. It ends on a DQ. That's a great way to, show your pay-per-view audience that you care, even with a cheap pay-per-view price. This wasn't a good pay-per-view. It was kind of messy. It felt like a glorified Raw. 2 Raws, Human Centipede together. So that's it. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin, and I'll see you soon.